fans, welcome to the newest episode of BlizzPlanet.com's StarCraft Summary. Now, as always, I'm your host, the Bearded Gamer, Chris Arnone. Now, before we get into talking about last week's question, got a little tidbit of news about the show. Now, starting next week and running through the month of November, let's see, I'm going on vacation, then a couple weeks later, our cameraman Paul's going on vacation. So, Eldorian has just decided that he's going to have, and he's calling it No Bearded Gamer November. Which sounds really sad. But that's what he's doing. So it's just going to be Eldorian sitting at home in front of his computer like he does all the time. We kind of have to drag him out of the house just to come to the filmings once in a while, really. Making some videos at home, some gameplay stuff, doing some voiceover action, and holding you over for a month until, indeed, Paul and the Bearded Gamer come back to grace your lovely computers. So let's talk about last week's question, okay? Now, last week we were wondering, why do you play StarCraft 2? Do you get into it for the story? Do you love to play online? Do you not even own it and you just like to watch the streams of esports? Here were your best answers. Thanks so much for your responses. We always love to hear from you. Love your feedback. Love your comments. Love highlighting the best ones every week. Weekly News Roundup.
You want a piece of me, boy?
So the premier StarCraft 2 League, GSL Code S, had its Season 4 finals just this last weekend. And of course, we got some results for you. Now, StarTale's Life, who plays Zerg, took on Incredible Miracle's MVP, playing Terran, of course, for the final. Now, a couple cool, interesting tidbits of note about this particular matchup. Now, MVP is the winningest player in GSL Code S, all right? He's won 4 titles altogether. Life, on the other hand, first ever appearance at a GSL Code S event, and he made it all the way to the finals, okay? Not to mention, Life is also the youngest player to ever make it to the finals at the young age of just 15. Less than half my age, and makes it into the GSL Code S finals. Just crazy. Now, it started off with Life taking an early 2-0 lead, but then MVP fought back and won 3 in a row. Now, it's a best of 7, so that brought it up to 3-2. Now, Life came back. It was a close match, the number 6, but Life just edged out. He almost lost, but came back and won, tied it up 3-3. Going into a 7th and final match, Life won once again and took the Season 4 GSL Code S Finals title. Now, this is the first Royal Roader in StarCraft 2 history. Now, for those not familiar with the term, a Royal Roader is someone who it's their very first time winning a final in their very first qualification. Which is rookie, first qualification, winning the whole thing. Just crazy. It's been a term that's been around, but it's never actually happened until now. So Life is definitely going to be someone we're going to want to keep an eye on in the coming months and in future esports events. Barcraft, Kansas City, we've got more to talk about there, all right? We're a little less than a week away from the MLG Fall Championship in Dallas, Texas. And of course, we're going to be doing our Barcraft here in Kansas City. Now, last week we talked about, some details, the where and the when. November 4th at Snow & Co. downtown right here in Kansas City. Now, some things we want to tell you, okay? Now, this kind of thing is going to start off around noon or 1 o'clock, depending on when, the event really gets rolling. And it's going to go until the event is over or until, Snow & Co. kicks us out. Now, like I said, keep in mind, last time it ended probably about 3 hours sooner than we thought it would. So don't think you're going to wait until 4 or 5 o'clock and then come, and you might miss out on the whole thing. Make sure, come early, have fun. And plus, all the giveaways are going to be gone if you come late. Now, if you plan to attend, check out the Facebook event page, okay? And click that you are attending, confirm you're attending. Now, the reason being is we want to give Snow & Co. a good idea of how many people are attending. That way they can get the appropriate amount of staff, bartenders, servers, and all that stuff. And last time we had about 100 people, and based on the event page right now, we're expecting about the same amount. But if there's a whole bunch more people, then Snow & Co. is going to be a little understaffed to handle it. Now, also this time around, Snow & Co. has a new projector, so we're going to try to make that work again. We couldn't make things work with the projector last time. We just had to use TVs. It was honestly a little hard to see. So we're going to give the projector a go again and hope that works a little better this time. So come out November 4th. Unfortunately, I will not be there. I will be on vacation in Seattle, Washington. But Eldorian will be there, and you can check out the MLG Fall Championship with a bunch of cool people, a bunch of great drinks. I tell you, I love Snow & Co. It's a great little bar. Very cool spot. Come and join us. All right. Now, this really awesome editorial came up recently, a blog post on FS World, talking about how esports should look to MMA or, professional wrestling as opposed to traditional professional team sports as a model for how they should function. Now, they point out that NFL specifically and traditional pro teams, they have an advantage of drawing from a location. For instance, we're in Kansas City. Now, both Eldorian and I are Chiefs fans. Yeah, I know. Worst team in the NFL this year thus far, but alas, we are still fans. We will root for them every week, no matter what, because it's our local hometown team. I'm not switching allegiance, for instance, in baseball over to the Cardinals because they do well every year. Nope, I still root for my hapless Royals. It's just how it works, and a lot of people are that way. It's not just America. I mean, you go to Europe, and that's how the football clubs work. Everybody, loves their teams. World Cup, even bigger. It's very much people getting behind their country. That's how that works. But see, esports, like MMA, like professional wrestling, they don't work that way. It's much more about the people, the characters, the fighters, the players. That's what it's really about, and it's very similar in that way. For instance, in esports, let's talk Team Evil Geniuses. Now, they have a few players who are very good. I mean, recently they signed Stefano. Stefano went to his very next tournament and just plowed straight through the whole thing. Still has some competitive players. But there's also some players on their team that haven't been as competitive in recent years, but their personalities still draw people in. Players like Idra, In Control, Huck, and Machine. People still tune in, follow Evil Geniuses for these players, even if they're not winning a lot of tournaments. Now, another way that these are similar is that in UFC and WWE matches, tournaments don't have an effect on one another. You've got this one show, this one tournament, and then it's over, and then you've got the next one. Whereas, pro sports teams, it's very much you've got a record. You're trying to make the playoffs. It very much how you've done before affects how you're going to do going forward. Let's face it, the Chiefs are 1-5. Probably not making the playoffs, it happens. But players in esports, if you win one tournament early in the season and it qualifies you for the championship, you could suck the rest of the season and you've still got your spot in that championship. So it's a little more similar that way. Now, FS World went on to say that one way that esports can promote itself, can get bigger, is to look to MMA and professional wrestling, these sort of real sports that it has much more in common with, to try and promote their brand. You look at those things, there's a lot of trash talking. There's a lot of hyping up of these events. If there's a big fight coming up, they'll put out a bunch of commercials, they'll talk about it on TV. You got the fighters talking trash at one another, going crazy, building up the hype, building up the hype, building up the hype. And that doesn't really happen. And, when Eldorian and I, we went to the MLG Spring Championship in Anaheim, it's something I noticed. See, back in high school, I was a big pro wrestling fan. Not so much now. And I've watched a few MMA events on pay-per-view with some friends. And that energy, the energy that I see there, I saw just a spark of it at MLG Anaheim. The way that, people are attracted to their players that they're fans of. But it just needed to be turned up. And maybe what they need to do is they need to take these players and coach them. Coach them about this is how you act in front of a crowd. This is how you behave in front of a camera. Just taking who they are. Don't change that. You don't need to change that. They've already got their following. But crank who they are up to 11. I'm not this animated in real life, but I'm me. No one would say I'm artificial or I'm not me. I'm just more animated. I turn myself up to 11 when I get in front of the camera. Because that's how it works. That's how it plays across, especially on the internet. So maybe that's what they need to apply to esports to build that sport up more and more. Is take some of those lessons learned from MMA and professional wrestling and apply them over into esports. Now, so of course we want to end, as we often do, with a question. Talking about this article in FS World and our own personal experiences here, what are your thoughts on how esports tournaments should be organized? Do you think they should keep or go with even more of a professional wrestling type or MMA style of organization, or maybe go with a more traditional sports? And do you think that playing up these personalities, playing up who they are, dialing that all up to 11, having a little more character in it, do you think that would help esports grow more and more? Or do you think the honesty of people being exactly who they are is more beneficial? Let us know in the comments, okay? And of course, we're going to highlight those best comments on next week's video. And why don't you go check out the Bearded Gamer Show? All kinds of good beardy video gaming goodness. And check out blizzplanet.com. All the news, reviews, great community, everything you need to know about Blizzard Entertainment games. We'll see you guys next time.